Ugh. I'm about to get 0 things from you guys. Okay.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steve, and this is 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast.
Later in this episode, we're going to talk about whether or not it's actually something to brag about if you're self-taught. But before that, we're going to get into an ad. This was sent to us by Greg Straub. And
Greg Straub.
Greg Straub?
Greg Straub.
Greg Straub. Greg Straub. This is a really funky looking old Hagstrom. I tried to search around and find another example of this, and I could not. I have never seen a Hagstrom that looked quite like this. I've never seen that headstock before. I don't think I've ever seen that body shape before.
Yeah, this says it's a Hagstrom Deluxe Batman.
And apparently, you'll find out by reading the description, Steve, this exact guitar, this very guitar was featured in a movie.
Yeah.
With Loki himself. Not Loki the character, but the actor.
Tom
Hiddleston. Middlestan. Tom Middles.
Is it Middles? No, it's Hiddleston.
Tom Middleman.
Hagstrom Deluxe Batman, real vintage 1960, as seen in Jim Jarmusch's film Only Lovers Left Alive. Watch the video clip at 143, where you see exactly that guitar. We helped Jarmusch with his movie in 2012 when he came to our shop looking for some rare guitars and accessories. He borrowed that blue Hagstrom together with other guitars. Part of the movie was filmed here in Cologne. If you'd like more detail or pictures, please mail to the address you see in the last picture. Okay, but let's look. Oh, look, there's a pick holder behind the headstock.
Yeah, I like that detail a lot. You're just like, oh yeah, who cares, pick holder. Like, I want to buy that pick holder.
I'm just naming what's going on here. There's volume and a bunch of switches. Oh,
yeah, the back.
That's a whole pearloid body.
The entire back and the back of the neck is Moto.
What?
Yeah, and like, I have a screen grab of the clip from the movie of him examining the guitar. It's a vampire movie. He's a vampire, and I don't really know totally what's going on. There's like he's a vampire and a musician or something like that, and someone brings him a bunch of guitars, and he's going through all these guitars, and he comments on all the stuff that we're going to comment on about the guitar. Like, oh yeah, the whole back is Moto. That's really cool. Oh yeah, look. This is really unique. I haven't seen this before.
Are you familiar with Jim Jarmusch?
No.
I know the name.
What else has he done?
I don't know. Coffee and Cigarettes. I feel like that's the only thing on here that I know. Oh, The Dead Don't Die. Was that the one with? I only know that one because it's the Selena Gomez is in the meme.
I don't know if I saw The Dead Don't Die.
I mean, I guess so. He has like a lot of.
Well, isn't that what this is from?
No, this is from Only Lovers Left Alive.
Oh, okay.
He did Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai, Dead Man.
I saw Ghost Dog.
Stranger Than Paradise.
I saw Ghost Dog when I was in college. It's got eye guy in it. What's his name?
Steve Buscemi?
No. Shoot. I feel bad now. I can't remember his name. Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah. But this is a cool looking guitar. But they want $10,000 for it.
Oh, he made the music video for Steady As She Goes.
Okay.
The Raconteurs.
I haven't ever owned a Hagstrom. I haven't ever had the chance to spend real time with a vintage one. Yeah. I've messed around with like the reissues. Mm-hmm. I think they're Korean built in shops and stuff. But man, this thing is a beauty. I love that body shape.
Yeah.
The headstock is perfect for a vampire movie. They picked the right guitar for a vampire movie.
Is this kind of the same trim system that's on the Hallmark?
No.
I
have that similar trim system on my High Spirit though, which is out in the kitchen. It's not in here. I love, like, can you buy that pick holder? Because that's a really classy little thing there.
I feel like you could buy something very similar. It's a pretty. It seems like a pretty normal device.
People aren't going to want to screw it into most of their guitars.
Yeah.
But like, that's like that little piece of, you know, like extra flares. It's like the little handle that you put on a vintage car's steering wheel so you can turn it one-handed sort of thing. Like, it's just a little bit of funky accessory to accessorize your instrument. I would screw that down onto a pick guard to have a little pick holder thing there.
Like on the front.
Yeah, I think that's classy. I like that a lot. The guitar is really super cool. I love the blue sparkle. I love the pick guard. I love everything about that I'm looking here. I want to touch this thing, but I don't want to pay what they're asking because the prices I've seen.
$11,000.
Yeah.
Did you look up? You said you couldn't even find any of these, right?
No, I couldn't find anything that looked like
Hagstrom.
anything like this shape.
Batman.
I mean, I was only looking on Reverb and eBay. Maybe I didn't use the Google magic powers that you have or whatever.
There was one that was from 1962 in a slightly...
And only $2,000.
Now, this might be the same color, but like...
Yeah, it's more faded.
More faded, and it was $2,000.
The highest price...
this was local pickup only.
The highest price
3 years
Hagstroms
ago.
I was seeing on my search today were like high 1,000. So like 1,700, 1,600, stuff like that. Yeah. I wasn't seeing anything anywhere close to this. And I'm wondering if the only reason they have that price listed is because it was in a movie and it was handled by Loki.
I feel like it is. I feel like that's why.
But it's not like this. Yeah, like I haven't watched the movie. So maybe this guitar is central to the plot of the movie. But I got a feeling from watching the trailer and then watching the little clip that I found online where this guitar is in the movie. Like, no, this is a passing thing. It's like it's a minute and a half of the movie and then you never see it again, sort of thing. Like, I don't think that being a movie prop for maybe 90 seconds changes the price of a guitar from potentially $1,900 to $12,000.
Yeah. So apparently there are only 225 Batman Model A's. I don't know if this is a Model A. I don't know what the difference is. But this is a somebody had a red one on offsetguitars.com and said that there are only 225 made. So I don't know if it's accurate. But.
It's an almost asymmetrical Mosrite.
Yeah.
It's an almost symmetrical Mosrite. Like those horns are so close, the waist is so close to being symmetrical, and that the way that the horns curve is like the top horn of a Mosrite in a way. I'm really smitten with this body shape. I'm smitten with all the details too. Like, I think I'm more in love with this than any Hagstrom I've ever seen before. And Hagstroms have that really cool like I-beam truss rod in them. Have you ever seen a cross section of those?
No. That's like a.
That's literally
like
what I said. It's like an I-beam.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find a picture.
So these are rare. If given that the rarity is accurate, you can still get other like Hagstrom era, like 60s era Hagstroms for under $1,000. So that really makes me feel like the rarest. This would be like, oh wow.
Yeah, it's like this I-beam shape, and Hagstroms are known for having, like, if they've got a good neck on them, like they're just bulletproof because of that I-beam shape.
Interesting.
of the truss rod. That's what I've read. I don't have personal experience. Maybe someone who has personal experience would say otherwise and be like, no, it's total trash. But I've always read that Hagstrom necks can just be completely bulletproof because of that truss rod.
It definitely seems like there's a lot of Hagstroms from the 60s that you can still get for.
Yeah, I seen vintage stuff in the low thousands.
Yeah, I'm seeing stuff in like the 700s.
I've been thinking, should I, for the sake of content, should I buy some weird old vintage stuff just to check it out and then relist it? Should I go full Trogley?
Somebody told me about a guitar that they thought you should buy.
Like, what if I had a monthly budget? Like, what if I budgeted myself What if it doesn't have to be monthly. What if I budgeted myself $1,000 and I bought something funky and vintage? I covered it on the channel. I did a full teardown and everything. We examine it, and then I put it back together, and then I sell it, and then I use that money to buy the next one, and rinse and repeat.
You could, yeah.
You know,
I don't remember.
So like muscle in on Trogley's territory. Get a little bit of that action. You know, I'm coming for you, Trogs.
Is he the only one who does those?
No, like, he just does it every damn day.
I know, yeah.
Anyone can buy a guitar and be like, look, I got another guitar. Let's take it apart. Someone want to buy it?
So 11,000, no. I think based on what I'm seeing, I think you're really
What's the upsell on it being the exact guitar featured in a movie?
That is the upsell. Is it
But what is the dollar value of that?
I think that they're basically putting an $8,000 value on that. If this was $3,000, then I could maybe be like, oh, okay.
You can buy movie props, and I'm under the impression that they're not that crazy expensive.
Apparently Garrett Wong has like every movie prop from Voyager.
Really?
Like he just buys them all.
Wow.
I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard.
I don't know. This is gonna be a hard thing to research right now.
Yeah, what are you looking for?
I'm seeing all reproduction props.
Movie prop guitar.
Yeah. I have a feeling there's somewhere that is a shop that sells legitimate props and like get a good idea what the values are and stuff.
I think the tough thing too is like a lot of times movie prop, like a movie prop, what I think of is like, oh, lamp from this movie or like whatever, like
right
something very basic that I guess a lamp would still be a functional device, or like, you know, gun from Predator. Like it's not a real gun, it's a prop gun. Like I think or like weapons and things like that. Whereas this is a functional guitar, so being in the movie,
it has this base value of being a functional guitar. You found one that was listed for $1,900, so we can say like it has a base value of at least $2,000.
Yeah,
somewhere in that vicinity. It looks like it's clean. It looks like the finish is in really good condition. There's no like crazy cracking going on on that moto.
It's got the pick holder still, which the other one didn't.
The binding on it looks like it's all in really decent shape. Binding can get in rough shape really quick on these old guitars. So yeah, I have no doubt that this is a finer example of this model guitar that would fetch a little bit more than others. But just the upsell value on it being a movie prop used in a movie, handled by a notable actor. I have a tough time imagining that it would be worth more than double than its actual worth. Like even that feels like a bit of a stretch because I'd never heard of this movie. Maybe it's a really popular movie, international or something like that, but I'd never heard of it. I want to watch it now. It looks cool.
I think it's just like an indie film.
It's some sort of indie film with A-list actors in it, apparently.
Was Tom Hiddleston A-list back then, though?
Maybe not. But Tilda Swinton's in it?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess I don't know I forget when Avengers started.
Probably
before this, right?
Maybe.
Oh, this has got a lot of people in it.
Yeah, I'm
Tilda Swinton, Tom Hiddleston, Mia Wasikowska, Anton Yelchin, who's R.I.P. Jeffrey Wright.
I'm gonna watch this dang thing. Is what's gonna happen.
And John Hurt.
Maybe this listing isn't. They're not trying to sell the guitar. They're trying to get people to watch the movie.
It was ranked among the BBC's 100 greatest films of the 21st century.
Really?
It was named the 4th greatest film of the 2010s.
What the hell?
By critic Todd McCartney.
How have I not seen it? I watched all the greatest films.
Yeah.
You remember how we were talking about the Riddick movies last episode?
Right.
We are enjoyers of cinema.
Yeah, we were talking about the Riddick movies. We were talking about what was the movie I said I was going to watch after?
There's a little crack in the
What?
I know, in the binding right there. Yeah. It actually looks like more of a bumper, like like a Dan Electro.
Yeah.
Or no, Airline.
Right.
Like that rubber bumper on the edge there.
It's a rubber baby buggy bumper.
Little crack there, but it seems like it's all holding together. Ah, man, I want to see Eastwood cover the shape. Like that's what I'm liking about this. Like I'm not in love with the bridge or, you know, that kind of old school kind of hardware thing in that direction. Actually, you know what? Swap out the bridge. I'm going to assume this is a modern player and I'm going to love it no matter what. But you're never going to get that moto on the back of the body and the entire neck.
Yeah.
On a reissue. Like you're just not, it's not going to happen. The cool factors is just off the charts with this guitar. It's just off the charts. Everything's so freaking cool about it. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch that movie. We'll watch the movie. We'll check back and be like, yeah, it's worth $15,000 now because it's so freaking. It was the star of the movie. This guitar had lines.
Yeah, turns out
it was the MacGuffin. Like the whole movie was about this guitar, and here we were doubting its value. Has someone watched this movie in the comments? Tell us.
I mean, okay, so Tilda Swinton was super famous by then. Thomas Hiddleston. Thor came out in 2011.
Watch, dude, it's gonna turn out that he's a fan and he watches the show.
Yeah,
he's gonna comment and he's like, "You assholes, I'm never listening again."
That's exactly what's gonna happen.
He's got all this time in his life to sit around listening to guitar podcasts, and we've ruined it.
So he actually he's
gonna go listen to the Tone Mob now instead of us.
He had not been in a ton of stuff. I mean, he was in Midnight in Paris, the Owen Wilson movie. He was in Warhorse. And then he was in Thor and the Avengers, and then he was in this. So not too much.
Sure.
I would say he was at the beginning of his movie career, his film career.
Back when Marvel
was in a bunch of TV.
Back when Marvel was grabbing somewhat unheard of but talented actors like
Robert Downey Jr. I will say, and Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
There's probably Ed
Norton.
I think Tom Hiddleston was one of those guys, Scarlett Johansson, that was like possibly very well known in like British
Sam Jackson
and like British TV for like doing like BBC stuff.
Oh yeah, wasn't he like in like period piece TV shows and stuff like that?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know, but he seems like the kind of guy.
Like he was a fancy lad of some sort.
Chris Evans.
He'd
already been in Fantastic
Relatively Four. Unknowns.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd,
Josh Brolin.
Yeah. All these hot young actors really haven't found their place in movies yet. People really don't know what they're capable of, and Marvel just snatched them up and turned them into household names.
Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
See him one? No,
who was Tron?
Who played Obadiah Stane? That's who I'm thinking of. The Tron.
Oh guy. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. That's the connection I was making.
Was Jeff Daniels in Tron?
No. But
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges. Different Jeff. We've been on the movie train the last two episodes. So yeah, we don't know the actual value. We don't know if that's fair for a movie used guitar.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was even used. It was like this, the scene is like he picks it up and looks at it, is like, oh, that's cool.
Movie held guitar.
It got more attention in that clip that I watched than most guitars in movies get. Because usually it's like, oh, there's a guitar in the background. This was like he picked it up, he turned it around, he talked about it.
Yeah. Sometimes, the guitar's in the movie and really all that happens is Kurt Russell smashes it.
Was that
Kurt Russell?
Yeah, it was Kurt Russell. It got about half the attention that the guitar in Wayne's World got. That's how much screen time it got.
1965 white. Or was it 65, 64?
The star of
white Stratocaster.
The star of the movie pointed at the object and said things about it, and then the camera panned to more interesting things.
3 single foil pickups in a whammy bar.
Imagine being in a music shop and walking up to a Strat and then describing a Strat like it's something special. Like it's got 3 single coil pickups. Yeah, dude, it's a Strat.
Dude, imagine being in working in a music store in like the mid 90s and having to listen to somebody come in every day to perform that sequence.
Oh my gosh.
I would put like anything, like all my Strats would just be in the back in a corner just so people wouldn't do that.
No more Strats.
Instead of no stairway, it's just no Strats.
No Strats. The store is called No Strats.
Oh my gosh.
And across the street, there's a competitor. Nothing but Strats.
Oh, Strats only.
Strats only.
Only Strats. Only Strats. Hey, if you pay $5 a month, I'll send you all the pictures of all the Strats.
Strat of the month club. You get a picture of a different Strat every month. It's all just like another Strat with 3 pickups and a whammy bar. Wow. Guys, Strat of the month club is here. What Strat did we get this time? This one's black with a white pick guard.
3 pickups and a whammy bar.
All right, what's next, Steve?
Next is housekeeping.
Yeah. If you want to support us, use the Patreon link down in the description. That's how you can do it. We use that money to buy food for podcasting nights. We use it for travel. We just got back from NAMM where we had to pay for hotel rooms.
Hookers and blow.
You had a very different NAMM experience than I did.
You were in the hotel room.
I was asleep, apparently.
Yeah, you were.
Did you at least record a podcast with the hookers?
Yeah, they had a surprisingly large repository of guitar knowledge.
They had a lot to say about various guitar things.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, is that a Stratocaster? 3 single coil pickups and a whammy bar?"
Did you get them floor passes for NAMM so that you could go check stuff out? This is terrible, and I hate this. I'm listen, like legalize sex work so they can be safer. But I'm not.
I did get them passes for the NAMM floor where they got jobs for the 2024 NAMM as Dean Booth girls.
Oh my gosh, or coffin case girls. All right, I don't think I have to. I don't need to say anything about sex work.
It's funny because we're recording this 2 weeks before NAMM.
I know we haven't even been to NAMM yet.
Yeah, if you want to support the making of this program.
After this, no one wants to support us after this.
Patreon.com/60cyclehumcast. We've never used your money for sex work or illicit drugs. So
if someone's going to get paid for sex work, it's going to be us.
Yeah, we're the ones who get paid.
We need the money.
This episode is also brought to you by Chase Bliss Audio.
Oh God, we're going straight into a real sponsorship.
Chase Bliss.
Oh my gosh.
This is the old mood.
Oh,
hopefully,
that hurts.
The new mood is coming soon. Head on over to chasebliss.com. Check out the new mood. Chasebliss.com.
I can't wait to get my new mood. I bet it's going to be here by the time this episode airs.
Is also brought to you by
Big Ear Pedals.
This is the Wacka.
It is 9 boosts in 1 pedal. It's a signature pedal of 60 Cycle Hum over here.
They're being made right now.
Well, I think they're already done.
Maybe they're already made.
They're probably already made by now.
Maybe you already have them.
I mean, if you haven't gotten yours yet, I'm sorry, but I was hearing reports a few days before we recorded this, which aired. We recorded this like 3-4 weeks ago.
Right.
I was hearing reports that people were getting shipping notifications.
Oh, nice.
So I'm not totally up on the news, but I'm assuming a good amount of them will be out by then.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So if you want to find out about cool stuff like this, what you need to do is get on Big Ear's mailing list, subscribe to their Instagram, all those kind of social media sorts of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. This next ad was sent by
This is the
Damian Martinez.
Harmony Explorer.
It's in
Will my pictures
Dunedin,
load?
Florida.
This is a classic Knight Rider black and red themed guitar.
Harmony Explorer.
It's
very
got
good condition.
3 humbuckers in
Sounds
it, guys.
great. All the switches work.
It's got a painting of a rose on it.
Comes with bag picks, strap, DVD. Price is negotiable.
It comes with a DVD.
This guitar is apparently named Lady Harley. Is that a Floyd Rose bridge? Don't forget me. Don't you forget about me. Love, Nick. I don't get it. What does that mean?
I don't know. It is a Floyd Rose style as far as like referencing the first generation, the first version of Floyd Roses. It is a double locking. The strings do lock into the bridge and there is a locking nut, but I really doubt it has anything to do with actual Floyd Rose bridges. This is a looker. in my opinion, I've never seen one of these. You got 3 humbuckers, which might be active. There is an extra control plate on the back of the guitar that looks like the place where a 9-volt battery would go. And they are covered like EMGs, but they're not labeled in EMGs. We got 3 knobs. We've got what I'm assuming is a 3-way switch and then 4 toggle switches to do who knows what. I have no idea what those 4 switches would do. Maybe like coil split or phase options or series parallel options for each pickup, or maybe there's a switch for each pickup to turn the pickup on, and then the blade switch does something else, and then there's a 4th. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities with all the controls on this thing. I just think it looks really freaking cool.
This is kind of bumming me out.
It's only $250
because I think whoever like did the refin on this left like a personal message on the back.
Is it a refin or is it just a personal painting and a personal message? Like,
well, I'm saying like whoever did like this pinstripe and sticker or whatever.
I wouldn't be surprised if that pinstripe around the edge was stock.
You think so?
I think it might be. It looks really clean. It looks like a factory finish sort of thing. The guitar doesn't look refinished. It just has a hand-painted rose on it. And then a private message written on the back.
I don't know. I have no idea.
That might not even be a painting. It might be a decal of some sort.
Right.
They might have bought that at a gas station in the middle of nowhere. It was meant to go on the side of a semi-truck. Maybe
this is a decal on the back. Who's Nick? Nick. This says it's Mike. The seller is Mike, not Nick.
Well, Nick wouldn't sell this. Nick died and passed this on to Mike.
Oh, okay.
You know, Nick would never sell this.
Who's Lady Harley?
You're going to search for Lady Harley and think you're going to find someone?
I already did. I didn't find anything.
Got all these unsupported file types in this thing. It's wild that it's a Harmony.
Okay, the pinstripe, you're right. The pinstripe is stock.
I'm telling you.
This is a Harmony H819B.
I've never heard good things about Harmonies of this era.
1980.
So I think the price is probably more than fair. It's probably like it's $250. Like you buy this just to look at it and you're doing all right. You can't get very many great guitars for $250. You can get some all right guitars. You can get some all right guitars for $250. But like you have to admit, if you're spending $250 on a guitar, it's probably a crapshoot no matter what.
I found one on Reverb and they want 500 plus shipping.
Well, then this is a great deal, and it doesn't even have a picture of a rose on it or a personal private cryptic message.
Yeah.
I would actually like the rose. I would I might scrape away the part that says Lady Harley because I don't know who that is. Nah, I'd leave it. I'd leave it for the mystery.
Leave it on there and then count down to see how many random people go up to your wife after a Dino Ghost / Vulture Shock show and start calling her Lady Harley.
I wouldn't be like, people would be like, oh, is that guitar named Lady Harley? I'm like, no, this is Lady Harley's guitar, and I've been trying to find her. Do you know her? I want to give her guitar back. Ridiculous. I think it's great. I say $250. Someone go buy it. Let us know how it is. What do you say, Steve?
It's not as awful as I want it to be.
What part of this is awful?
Don't you forget about me, love Nick.
It comes with a DVD, Steve.
Yeah, but it's not a Space Jam DVD.
Space Jam DVD, Space Jam DVD,
Space Jam DVD, Space Jam DVD, Space Jam DVD, Space Jam DVD. All right. You got anything else? I don't got anything else.
I don't. It's beautiful. Go buy it. Topic? Or are we doing another sponsor?
What's new?
I don't have anything new. We just got back from NAMM, apparently.
Yeah.
Maybe this will go up the day after we get back. Maybe it'll go up the week after if we recorded something at NAMM. I don't know. If you're already sick of NAMM footage, good news. This isn't it.
Yeah.
This is not a NAMM podcast. And I'm sure we're both tired and sick after coming back.
Hopefully we make a NAMM podcast.
I think we might.
I hope we do because I don't want to record the week after NAMM.
You know what we could do?
Probably should.
I got those new mics that Sweetwater very graciously hooked us up with. We could potentially put those on and just walk around for an hour and just record whatever, and that'll be a podcast.
Yeah, that's
it would work.
Well, I think we could sit down and spend an hour in our room or in somebody else's room.
We could do it at lunch. We could have a lunch.
Do it at lunch.
Sit down and just chat and be like, oh, here's a podcast. We're sitting here chatting.
I do have what's new.
Okay, what's your new?
I have been binging Picard.
All right. What season are you on right now?
I'm all caught up. I'm 100%.
You made it through season 2?
I made it through season 2, dude. And yeah, no, that's how it felt. Season 2 was
yikes.
Was
embarrassing.
I don't know if it was embarrassing.
Season 2 of Picard was embarrassing.
You think it was embarrassing?
Embarrassing. You know what the thing is, it was a stereotypical Star Trek premise, but it's usually the premise that you get late in a season where they're like, oh no, we ran out of money, the show doesn't have a budget. Do an episode that takes place in 20th century Los Angeles. Yeah. That's exactly what they did. And you thought like, oh, this is going to be a fun little like side quest for one episode. No, they made it the whole season.
Yeah. Just
hanging out in 21st century Los Angeles in our time. Like, did this show's really out of budget now? On the second, you blew the whole budget.
I just don't. There's a lot of things. Okay. Season 2 also just doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like it doesn't. Season 2 is canon destroying.
They wanted to bring back the Borg Queen.
Which is fine.
Whatever.
But here's my thing, right? You're telling me that despite the fact that the Borg Queen is like former BFFs with Picard, that also in the middle of the 24th century, the Borg still like are just doing whatever the hell Q wants them to? Like none of that makes sense.
The whole I forgot about the Q storyline. Like, it sucked. It sucked. Season 2 sucked, but season 3 has been going some fun places.
I've been liking season 3.
Is corny. It's not perfect, but it's the correct amount of nostalgia hit that you want.
Did you get through?
I'm update.
Okay, you're up to date.
I'm all up to date.
Yeah, so I really liked that the conclusion of...
By the time people were able to watch this season's probably over.
That's true. I really liked that the conclusion of the Nebula just basically was like, no, just kidding. This was like 3 Monster of the Week episodes all in one.
Right.
I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Amanda Plummer is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, season 2, not a lot of fun.
No.
I enjoyed Brent Spiner as the villain in what's a Master of Disguise.
Right.
I did not enjoy Brent Spiner as the villain in season 2.
Brent Spiner does not play a good human being. He's bad at acting like a human being. Like, he is excellent as Data. He's excellent as lore.
Yeah.
The moment he's a human being, is like, what the hell is this? What is going on? He works in Independence Day.
Yeah.
Because he's wacky, you know? He's a nut, you know?
He plays like wacky villain. I think that's exactly what it is he can work as like a wacky villain.
But playing like a devious villain?
Yeah. Playing like...
It's weird.
And also playing like, here's the deal. I am a banned, like my research has been destroyed. I am banned from ever doing any kind of research again. But also I'm still fucking basically Elon Musk.
Brent Spiner.
So...
Listen, hear me out. Brent Spiner would have made an excellent Joker.
I could see that.
Like if they had done a 1960s Batman reboot style show in the 90s and got him to do it. Are you kidding me? Like he's got the mannerisms. He's got the unhinged sort of thing. He could have done an excellent Joker.
I could see that.
Yeah.
And season 2 was what I mean. I made it through, but there's like it just leaves some like massive, like
season 3 has been the best season.
Universe destroying type things in season 2. Season 3's been
season 1 was like okay, yeah, this is something. The season 3 has been a lot more fun.
Season 3, there have been like maybe too many,
but that's kind of like
touchy feely moments.
That's the history of Star Trek is like weak opening seasons.
Yeah.
And then they find their pacing and then they're done. You know? I mean, Picard is not going to get 7 seasons like Next Generation. Oh, man, you know,
I hope not.
It's gotten more seasons than the original series got. So there's that. I
don't know. This could be the last one.
Well, didn't the original series get 2.5 or something like that, or 1.5?
Maybe it was only 2.5. It was
like 50 episodes.
They got a third
like
season. Yeah, that's true. It was 20 something episodes.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to guitar talk.
All right. This episode is brought to you by String Joy. These are the signatures. This is a basic nickel wound string. They also have pure nickel strings.
They also have coated strings.
Have you tried the pure nickel ones?
I have not.
And they have coated strings. So
I should probably do that. I should probably get a variety pack. I should get their pure nickel and see how they compare.
Yeah, talk to those guys at NAMM.
I'll talk to those guys. I could talk to them over the email, over the phone.
Don't you remember when you talked to String Joy last week at NAMM?
Oh yeah, last week when I was definitely at NAMM because we recorded this right when we got back.
Yeah. All right. Use the link below. We get a couple bucks. It's cool. It's super cool.
It's so cool.
Thanks, guys.
Every time you guys buy something and use our links, like this is what happens. Watch this. Did you see that? It's a huge change.
Are you done?
Don't you want to see that change in my life?
Do you have that topic? Do you have the photo? Do you have the
audio podcast listeners have no idea what's going on right now.
It just got real quiet. They're like,
I waved my hand over my face and I was frowning at first and then I put on a smile. I do have the photo. We're going to talk about the topic. This wasn't sent to us by anyone, but it's something I saw on Reddit. Someone was talking about something and I saw this comment and I thought, hey, that's a fun prompt for a topic. It said, I'll happily tell everyone what I'm running and the settings. That really doesn't matter here. Since I'm self-taught, another musician won't approach the fretboard or the phrasing the same way as me. Jeff Beck is a great example of this. You can get his pedals and his Marshall, but there is a huge gap between his gear and his sound. And what this got me thinking about is it's so common in our modern guitar culture for people to brag about being self-taught and wear it as a badge of honor, like, oh, I'm self-taught. I don't need lessons. I don't need theory. I don't need this and that. And there's also people on the other side who are like, oh yeah, those people are, just self-taught guitarists. They don't know theory. They don't know, the actual musical discipline and things like that. And I thought it would be fun to just kind of examine that as a concept. Like, I'm self-taught.
Yeah.
Admittedly. Are you self-taught?
Basically.
Have you had some instruction?
I took lessons for like one summer when I was 12, but I didn't actually start playing guitar like all the time until I was 14.
So you didn't like pick up like advanced theory or anything like that, or like rudimentary theory.
No.
Like I've just started picking up theory in the last couple of years, like forcing myself to learn some basic things.
Yeah.
And I'm just ready to say, having learned a few basic things that I should have learned way earlier, that I really don't think being self-taught is something to completely brag about. I think there's elements of it that we should all be absolutely proud of ourselves if we teach ourselves anything. But I think it's not a brag to dig your heels in and be like, I am self-taught. I don't need to learn anything other than what I teach myself by just interacting with the instrument and exploring it on my own. I think what I've learned is that there's an incredible amount of value in formally organized information and formally organized ideas. Like, what's your hot take?
And so that's kind of part of it too, is like, if you're ever like in a cover band, like if I joined a cover band right now as a bass player,
sure,
and they were like a oldies, whatever, I don't know what you would call it. I feel like a song that my band would probably cover might be like Peter Gunn.
Sure.
So if I go on YouTube and I YouTube search Peter Gunn bass tutorial, am I no longer self-taught? Right? Like I watched a video to learn how to play a part.
Right. Well, we could get into the pedantic nature of this and be like, oh, did you ever hear the name of a chord from another musician and look it up and find out what chord that is? Oh, you're not self-taught anymore because you referenced something. I'm talking more like people who
figured it out on your own.
Yeah, we all figure it out on, even if you take classes, even if you take lessons, if you have a private one-on-one instructor, you are still figuring it out on your own. You're taking information from outside of yourself and you're reorganizing it in your head and applying it in your own way. Like it's not the Matrix. Someone isn't downloading Kung Fu into your brain through a spike in the back of your skull.
So I think there's like a few different things there. One is it's like, where are you pulling your inspiration from? While you know, the Jeff Beck example is interesting because if we both searched it, because we didn't know each other was searching it, like, was Jeff Beck self-taught? Right. And the answer from Google was like, yes, he was self-taught. Here's a list of people in the music industry that he said were like inspirations. And that list was really broad. And some of them, one of them was like Ravi Shankar. Like, there's people on that list that are not guitar players. Right. And it's the like, same thing with like Ben Folds, I think, is a self-taught piano player. But I know a lot of the story around him for a long time was that his approach to the piano was like as a drummer. Right. Like incorporating other things. So that can be like,
piano is a percussion instrument.
Yeah, and that can be like a good thing about being self-taught is maybe you're like a little more open-minded to fusing ideas, but at the same time, like
I think the cornerstone of my argument and my perspective on this is, what are you self-teaching yourself? Right. Because so often we see people who are like, oh, I'm self-taught, I don't need all this music theory stuff. You can self-teach yourself music theory. Right. Like, that is something you can self-teach yourself. I guarantee you someone high up in their skill ability, like a Jeff Beck or a Ben Folds or so-and-so, they self-taught themselves some detailed informational stuff. Like, they cracked some books. You can self-teach yourself by cracking some books or getting into some information that you found somewhere, like studying some scales, things like that, studying modes, studying, the different interactions of, intervals and things like that, studying the circle of fifths. You can self-teach yourself all that stuff. But when it becomes frustrating and like, what are you even talking about, is when you meet someone or talk to someone who's like, I'm self-taught, I don't need to know scales. I'm self-taught, I don't need to know fifths. I don't need to know what a fifth is. Like, I don't need to know. And that's the thing, like, is like basic theory stuff, It's
like there's self-taught people where they'll go like, oh, well, I'm self-taught. And it's like, what they mean is like their technique is self-taught, but they still, if you picked up a guitar and you played a 1-4-5-4, basic 12 bar, or 1-4-1-4-1-4-5-4, like your basic 12 bar blues progression, they're gonna play like the minor pentatonic to whatever major key you're in, and you're gonna be like, well, you got that out of a book. And so maybe their style is unique because they didn't have somebody telling them how to do the physical movements, but they're still playing what they're playing. The other thing with that is, like, I was thinking about if watching like Rick Beato, What Makes This Song Great, or any of these different guys that break apart songs, and a lot of times they'll talk about like, oh, there's this chord, this chord, this chord, and then they threw in this like this diminished seventh here, and maybe that guitar player, that songwriter, was trained, and maybe they weren't. Who knows? But then, the person who's presenting will be like, this seems really out of left field, but this is actually really common in classical music. So a lot of times, like, self-taught, like I said, maybe it makes you a little more open-minded to certain things, but it also can limit the way you communicate that to other people. And I if you're self-taught, that's fine. If you're not self-taught, like, that's fine too.
I think the people who dig in their heels on the self-taught thing and don't want to be open to like music theory and more I'm a sloppy mess when I play guitar. I don't really deserve to lecture anyone on this sort of stuff because I'm a sloppy wreck. But I think where a lot of these people come from is this thought that if they had been part of some sort of formal lessons, some sort of formal training, then they would have been trained the way you're trained to drive a car. Like, here are the rules, here are the lanes. There's no creativity here. Here's how you play this song. You cannot color outside the lines. And they think that's what learning will be. And there probably is that going on. There's the other extreme side of the spectrum of learning where that's probably happening. Someone's sitting there like, you've got to be perfectly on this tempo, wrong note, and they slap your fingers with a ruler or something like that. My experience so far, like learning theory and like the little bit that I've learned and just trying to expand my music knowledge, is that it doesn't make you do anything. It doesn't force you to be in any sort of lane. It gives you a vocabulary.
Right.
It gives you an understanding of how things work so that you can easily come to creative conclusions and move creative directions without having to fumble around and try a bunch of stuff that you would be able to figure out wouldn't work. You can get straight to stuff that you know will work. And then you can look at it and be like, well, now that I know that that works, I can say that that's boring and I want to do something spicier than that. So instead of going from the root to a fifth, I'm going to start on the fourth and I'm going to move to a seventh, and it's still all in the same scale and key, but I'm doing something that just feels more unusual and more exciting to my ear because I've been stuck playing the same pentatonic shapes for, my entire life. And now finally, I'm telling you my own experience now. Now finally I can explore in a different mental way what I'm doing instead of just following my fingers, Like, I think there's something really, really powerful about a basic vocabulary of music theory and learning of the discipline of this stuff, not just so you can communicate to other people, but so that you can communicate to yourself inside your head while you're solving your own problems, while you're doing your own playing. It gives think of it like a video game.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden you understand the video game on a completely different level. Like, yeah, I didn't know all the rules, so I've been doing all this stuff roundabout to try to get this goal.
Are you saying people should read the manual?
You should read the manual. Someone else wrote it, and I know it doesn't feel like you're teaching it yourself. You're not open world exploring it. Right. But you might actually do better if you learn some basic stuff, Yeah.
I wonder, that's the other thing is I was reading biography, like the snippet on Wikipedia. They talk about how Jeff Beck went to, like, I think it was an arts, like, high school. And he got involved in music there and was like in
so he was
there.
Self-taught, but he was fully immersed in a creative environment.
That's kind of the way it makes it sound. So that's the other side of it, because I was like reading, because I got thinking is like a lot of people think that being that when you get lessons, like, you're just gonna, and this does happen, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, like if your guitar teacher is Carlos Santana and Carlos Santana is your guitar teacher for 5 years, there's a pretty good chance that after 5 years, every song you write is gonna have a natural tendency to start whatever. Like, you're gonna buy a
neck pickup, 12th fret,
PRS,
you're doing it.
PRS into Boogie, Mark V, whatever, right? And,
if I wanted to sound like Carlos Santana and play like Carlos Santana, like if I had legit fandom for him,
you'd have to marry someone named Maria.
No, I'd be going for an old Yamaha.
Oh yeah, before the pre-PR. Yeah.
I mean, they're heavy as bricks, but that would be like my fantasy to go for the OG,
So what I looked up was I just Googled, was Tim Henson self-taught, because he seems like the kind of guy, again, like thinking about like spaces where like I think people have this idea that like, well, if you're taking lessons and you're just going to end up a soulless guitar robot, which I'm not saying, I don't really like Polyphia's whatever, like they're obviously fantastic musicians, but
it's not my style.
It's not, I don't have
any feelings against them.
I can't say it does or doesn't convey emotion because I don't listen to it, but I know like he's a very talented technical musician. One of the things is that he took violin lessons as a kid. He got into guitar when he was 10, and apparently in an interview with, I think it was said with Anthony Fantano, he said that both his dad and the other guitar player, Scott LePage in Polyphia's, Scott's dad, are both like monster guitar players. So yeah, maybe they didn't take like a formal class, but if you have somebody who's around you that you can like emulate early on, who's maybe exposing you and playing a lot of like the classic boomer bends music,
so like
that you're going to get that exposure, and that's going to be your basis of understanding.
You have a choice as a creative. You have a choice. Like if you don't want to play robotic, if you don't want to play clinically clean and reproduce what you're being taught or what you learned, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You do not have to. You can play exactly the way that you want, but I'm just making a case for knowledge. I'm making a case for don't be afraid to let people teach you some stuff. Don't be afraid to learn things that are outside of your own conclusions and add them to your conclusions.
Yeah.
Like there's so many different ways to learn things. Technically, like if you get pedantic enough, everything is self-taught because someone can explain something to you, but unless you do the mental work to like place it in your frame of reference for how things work, like you'll just ignore it and you won't actually learn anything. You have to do mental work to learn things, even when someone is teaching you. If you are someone who takes lessons or gets instruction or reads a manual or reads a book or something like that, and it forces you into a place of just clinical, boring, mechanical playing, that's on you.
Yeah.
That is your fault. Someone didn't do that to you. That's you. You as a creative, you as a person playing, you're the person who decides what you're going to do with what you're learning.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where it comes from.
I think I have two thoughts.
Sure.
One is that I think regardless of if you're paying somebody for lessons or if you're just asking around, that old adage or the old idea that like the greatest people in any field never stop learning.
Yeah.
Right. The greatest there's stories of a couple different times where Kobe Bryant hit a point in his career where he's felt like he was getting older, so he was slowing down. So what did he do? He called up like Hall of Fame basketball players that he had relationships with. It was like, hey, can you teach me your signature move?
Right.
Like I need something new. Can you teach me your move? It was, one of the best moves. Teach me. I guarantee, like I'm pretty sure there are moments, I haven't watched it in a long time, and it might get loud. You've got Jack White, you've got Thedge, you've got Jimmy Page. They're all sitting around. You think those guys weren't teaching each other how to play their songs the way they played it?
Right.
Like, come on.
It's
the way that we learn. Like you ask people how do you do that thing that you do that's cool.
I think a big thing of what has a hair up my butt about this isn't where you get your knowledge from.
Right.
It's about humility.
Yeah.
It's about not thinking that you have it all figured out on your own, or that the way that you figured it out is the ideal pinnacle of what needs to be learned.
Yeah.
Have some humility that there's more to learn, and that maybe, just maybe, the millions of people before you who spent their lives playing music have something to offer you as far as insight. The people who organized ideas about music and ideas about how music can work and ways of describing how music works, they might have something to teach you. and you might actually play better and more interesting and enjoy it more if you exploit those resources.
Yeah.
Like, exploit them.
Exploit the resources.
It's not, you're not, I think people to a certain extent, maybe people are making excuses for being lazy. They're like, I'm happy with where I'm at. I don't want to do the work. I'm proud self-taught.
That's me.
And it's fine. If you're happy there, then be happy, but don't walk around pretending that if you got some sort of an outside instruction that it would ruin the special thing that you've got going on. I guarantee you're not as special as you think. None of us are.
I think that last thing would actually segues perfectly. It's like you were reading my mind. Is my last point would just be, if you feel stuck, if you don't feel stuck and you just feel like learning, like, I think it would be very hard. I mean, unless you got a bad teacher, I think the likelihood of taking lessons, making you,
if you don't like your teacher, quit, go find another teacher.
I don't think the likelihood of a person taking lessons and becoming a worse guitarist is very likely. Now, maybe you take lessons and you decide, well, I learned how to do some things I didn't know how to do, but they're not really applicable to what I want to do.
Right.
So you don't come away with it as necessarily a better guitarist, but it's not going to make you worse.
I took lessons for, I want to say, 3 or 4 weeks when I first started playing guitar. But the problem with it was that I had already self-taught myself probably 20 chords.
Right.
You know, your majors, your minors, and some sevenths. You know, stuff like that. And I'd already learned a couple songs that I liked. And then my mom was like, hey, here's this, I found out about a guitar teacher that one of my friends is sending their kids to. Do you want me to send you? I was like, yeah, sure. So I go and get lessons. And the problem was I had already started and the teacher was restarting me at square one.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was frustrated by that. And she was having me play songs. It was like, your green sleeves, things like that. She's like, don't worry, once we get past this and we're going to move like into Beatles songs, that everyone loves Beatles songs. And I was like, I want to play Walk Don't Run, you know?
Yeah.
And so it was uninteresting to me because I was already past what she was showing me. And I had this guilt as a teenager that I was wasting my parents' money, sort of thing, because I know that it wasn't cheap. I'm thankful to my mom that she wanted to try to make it happen. Looking back, if I had stuck with it and gotten a dozen episodes into it, I probably would have had a stronger base of skills that would have been immediately valuable to me as far as keeping tempo and rhythm.
I just like, I like how you just called going to guitar lessons episodes.
Did I? Yeah. I'll have to catch the rewind on that. I would like some very core fundamentals that I just skipped over because I was so excited to just play the sounds that I was hearing with my ears without having the fundamentals of rhythm and tempo and proper chord structures and things like that, like getting past power chords and whatnot. I think there would have been a lot of valuable information that I would have soaked up earlier on. Would it have made me more stiff from the beginning? Possibly, but I needed that stiffness.
Right.
I needed it bad. I was very, very, very rough for a long time starting out. I don't know how anyone around me put up with my guitar playing. Like I was non-functional, but having a great time, which is awesome. But I would think I would have had a better time applying that energy into a structure where I had a better start.
Sure.
You know, I might have been band ready in high school instead of after college. Like bands.
You weren't band ready after college either. I was there.
No, you're right.
Whales go to Arizona.
Well, I was having fun.
Whales go to Arizona.
That's just a fun song,
We
Steve.
don't know why. They'll just fly. All right, this ad was sent by Sean Agate. I assume we're done with that topic.
We're done. People are fighting about it in the comments, and we're done.
This is a custom bass guitar. Some screws have stripped heads due to hardness of the wood.
Wow.
Photos have tried to show all the perfections, plays well, and works. This bass should be on OnlyFans.
Does it say that?
No, I said that.
Oh, okay.
Because of the hardness of the wood.
Oh, okay. What wood is it made out of?
They didn't pilot hole drill anything.
Oh my gosh.
So instead of like,
oh my gosh. Okay, so the neck plate has 5 screws. There's one straight in the middle. One of the screws is a flathead. The one in the middle is a Phillips, but it's like a wood screw, like for like your wall or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the actual guitar neck screws
are stripped.
One of them is completely stripped. It's just a dimple. And the others are well on their way to being completely stripped.
It's probably aligned with the holes on the body, but not on the neck.
How did they even get them in if the wood was so hard and they stripped it that much? This neck is never coming off. You're going to need to use an angle grinder to take those screws off. This is... Okay, that's like, we're not even getting into the shape of this guitar yet or any of the other details. It's a bass guitar. It's a P bass.
It's a bass guitar. It's in the shape of a...
bird?
That's the word.
Bird.
This is a Century Star bass. Never heard of that brand. Probably sucks.
Is that what's on the headstock?
Yeah.
It's some cheap bass that this person cut a new body for.
This is like a upside down-ish P-bass pickguard.
I think it's supposed to be a parrot.
I think it's also. I also think. I think it's supposed to be a parrot. Is the like Quetzalcoatl? Is that a parrot or is that? I guess that's a Quetzal. Because it kind of gives me like Aztec.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's intentional or if that's just the way it turned out.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Like it kind of has a tropical Caribbean like tourist sculpture of a parrot angle to it, or it might be trying to reference some sort of pre-colonial South American art.
Yeah, so if you buy this bass, you can only play it in a Jimmy Buffett cover band.
I just feel like if you're gonna
or an Eagles cover band.
If you're gonna make a bird themed guitar where the body is the body of the bird,
a bird's cover band.
Why wouldn't you go for a bird that has a long neck? Flamingo, ostrich, emu. These are all birds with long necks. Egrets have long necks. There's a lot of birds that have long necks. There's plenty to choose from.
Yeah.
A parrot
does not have a long neck.
Does not have a long neck. And from looking at this, apparently it's a parrot guitar because I can't think of what other bird this would be. You could repaint this and make it a turkey guitar, maybe? And turkeys have somewhat long necks, I suppose, but they have those round bodies, and this does not have that. I love the detail of the bridge being grounded to the pickguard by way of a bare wire running from underneath the pickguard.
I'm not going crazy looking at that.
That's always a good sign.
Yeah.
Actually, somewhat decent trim job on the pickguard to make it fit this thing. The output jack is in a very interesting place.
It's horrific.
I just noticed that.
It's in the middle of the guitar.
The 2 knobs have been moved up to the lower horn, which is, the right wing. And then the output jack is basically the tip of the lower horn. Imagine playing this bass and the strap is coming out by the neck. The cable's coming out by the neck. You plug in just below the neck. Like what?
You know what this is?
What?
Hold on. I'm trying to.
If this guitar was here right now, this bird would be endangered. I'd be taking it out in the backyard with Super Rich Steve and a bottle of lighter fluid.
Oh, absolutely. We would cook this bird.
Yeah, bird's gonna cook. I mean, I'd play it for a little bit first, but man, it's someone worked hard on this, and the price is honestly not ridiculous. 200 AU, what is that? That's what, 150 US?
150 US.
Did I nail it?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look it up.
Oh, do you agree that it's probably around there?
Well, how much? 220?
200 AU. You don't have to figure it. We'll just guess.
Yeah, I think it's like 120, 125.
There you go.
Somewhere down that neighborhood.
I think the price is fine. Buy this for your tropical themed dive bar and hang it up somewhere for your Jimmy Buffett open mic night thing that you do. Someone worked really hard on this. They definitely spent more time than what they're trying to get money out of. Like this, they're not trying to overcharge for this. And I mean, it looks like the strings are lined up on the neck. It's probably playable. I'm not sure the strings are lined up over the pickups completely correctly.
I've been staring at this Picard trying to figure out what is going on, and it's obvious once you figure it out.
Is it backwards?
No, this is a P-based Picard, and they just cut off the bottom horn and maybe did a little bit of reshaping at the top.
Right.
So they cut off this part. They cut off the controls, and then they just put the controls on the upper horn.
Right. They moved the controls.
I could not wrap my head around that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I needed a visual of an actual P-based Picard because I just couldn't visualize it.
I think technically this base is playable. The angle,
yeah, it's playable.
The angle might be off.
Bullshit.
But it looks like the strings might not be lined up perfectly with the pickups.
One of the bird wings is like disconnecting. It does not want to be part of this guitar anymore.
Yeah, there's big cracks down the back. I have a feeling it's a single piece of wood. Maybe not. No, it might be a multi-piece.
No, it's definitely multi-piece.
But
each one of those cracks is a different piece.
I was thinking that it was just cracking from life.
It's cracking. Yeah, it's cracking from life because it doesn't want to be here.
It's cracking because it wasn't glued together correctly. Like they didn't join those pieces of wood together correctly.
It's cracking because it knows its existence is stupid.
Right. It doesn't want to exist anymore.
Actually, some of these cracks, and again, this goes to the idea that I think that they just said pilot holes are for like
right. Now I can drive a screw straight in
because literally like
I bet this is made out of oak or something stupid.
Like maybe there does appear to be two pieces of wood joined straight down the center, and then when you look at the picture of the neck plate, there's two pieces of wood that are joined underneath the neck plate.
Yeah, and
then they put a screw.
It's right in the middle of it.
Right through this glue seam.
Yeah.
Which probably started to go in, and then instead of, if they would have drilled a pilot hole, it probably would have been fine. But instead of doing that, they did this, and instead of the wood separating out to make room for the kind of self-drilling, right, which is always hard on wood, the wood just said no, we're out of here.
Yeah.
We're gonna make space for the screw and split the entire length of the body in half.
But then how do you explain the other splits? It's this guitar has literal wings on it. It wasn't glued together. I'm assuming it wasn't glued together correctly, and that's why it's splitting. But it's also because there's a lot of leverage against those wings.
Yeah,
they're just floating there, held on by glue, and they're just these big wings of wood that aren't held by anything else. It would have been better to make this guitar out of plywood.
I think there's six pieces of wood here that are laminated.
It should have been like a 10-piece body where it's two layers of wood where the seams are offset. Like stacking bricks.
Oh yeah.
But looking at this, I wonder if it's made out of some stupid heavy piece of wood, like if it's a piece of oak something like that. It kind of
looks heavy.
It looks like oak. I bet this thing weighs 30 pounds. The fact that he said that the wood was so hard that the screws stripped. Even if you drilled straight into ash, poplar, normal guitar woods, you would be able to get a screw to go into them. But a piece of oak or something like that, yeah, you'd definitely strip out. I admire the effort. I admire the creativity and the artistry here. It's colorful. It's fun looking. It's technically functional. I have thoughts on the bird selection. Give me a flamingo. I want that long neck flamingo bass guitar, please. A parrot doesn't really make sense for this unless you do some sort of parrot head inlay on the 12th fret.
Right.
But the execution is really rough. It's folk arty. It's priced correctly. Like, this is a wall hanger at we'll call it $125 US.
Yeah.
It's a wall hanger for your tropical themed bar, no problem. You could probably play it from time to time, but let's let this be a cautionary examination of a guitar for the people who are home hobbyists who want to build their own bodies and stuff. Look at the mistakes that were made here and try to avoid them.
If you like pina coladas, this is the bass for your home bar.
Right. But I'm not gonna. I don't want to completely crap on it because it does exist and it actually does look like it's functional. And I actually do like elements of the carving and the painting. And I actually, I mean, the jack placement is full blown bonkers.
It's bonkers.
Full blown bonkers.
Absolutely nuts.
But I don't actually hate the knob placement. The jack placement should have been out the tail somewhere.
I mean, P bass, you don't need those knobs. You should just wire straight to jack.
Yeah, you don't need knobs. Yeah, straight to output with a P bass. No, it's good to have knobs.
You only need volume.
The knobs could have been down where the feet would be or something.
Yeah.
The feet, I don't know. All right.
Well, they obviously didn't want to route the body any more than they had to, because otherwise they would have put the knobs in a location that made sense.
The knobs could have been on the upper wing, but then they would have to cut a custom pick guard.
And they'd still have to figure out somewhere to put that jack.
They could have done a strap jack on the back of the guitar, but that would have taken extra routing and woodworking, and I don't know if they were up to the task for that. All right, tell us about the song,
Nope.
Steve. Oh,
Adventurers Club.
Adventurers Club. How could I forget?
What's your pick? I want to hear your pick.
You want to hear my pick
I want
first?
to hear your pick first. I went first last time.
That's true. I'm not going to make you go first every single time. So we got the bird bass.
Yep.
We have got the vampire Hagstrom.
And you got Lady Harley.
Lady Harley. Man, we got some good ones. I really like that Hagstrom. And I want to watch that movie now.
Okay.
So that's my vote.
That's your... because my vote's bird bass.
Do we need a flip?
I guess so.
So Hagstrom is Spin Doctors and bird bass is Chris.
Sure.
Side of the lucky Spin Doctors pick here.
Yep.
I got it.
Hey, you got it. Vampire
Hagstrom.
All
by
right.
Greg Straub. Greg, congratulations. You won.
Let's pull up the song here. This was sent by William Wolf.
By the way, if you guys want to win a $25 gift card, send us more ads.
Yep.
The winner of the Adventurers Club gets a digital gift card. One every week. There's a winner every week.
Winner every week.
Steve wants to do it forever until we die.
I play in a band called Shark in Columbus, Ohio. We are a 3-piece with 2 guitars and a singing drummer. We recently released an album called Thresher. DistroKid made us call the band Shark with an exclamation point. So look it up. To look it up, you have to type Shark exclamation point Thresher. Anyway, I love the podcast. I watch every episode and thought I would send you an original recording.
I'm going to start a band called Shark with a question mark.
The song is called Torpedoes in Leather. right, what band does this make you think of?
There's a lot in there that I like a lot. Love all the naming theming. Oh, man.
But what band?
What was it? Leather? Torpedoes and leather?
Torpedoes and leather. In leather, not torpedoes in leather.
Torpedoes and leather. I love that. You've got surf punk guitar going on, mixed with a female vocal. Already, I'm excited. And in that female vocal is pulling influences, equal parts Susie Sue and Bikini Kill. And it's just like, ooh, man, this is like, you made a perfect sandwich. All the ingredients are mixing together. And it's like, did you make this for me? Is this for me? I have to go listen to everything this band has done now.
I don't know if it's the right, well, remember it's Shark, ! They're from Columbus, Ohio. And the band that came to mind for me, and I don't know if this reference is correct, but in my head, it might be correct, was X.
I can see that connection. See that connection for sure. Yeah. I have no problem with that at all either. No. I love it. Send us more. Send us more songs, and we'll play more songs in the future. I want to hear them. I mean, I'm going to listen to them after I edit this podcast, and I remember to look them up because I'm going to go to bed right after this, and I'll forget everything after that. But when I edit this podcast, it's going to be a treat for me all over again, and I'm going to look you guys up, and I'm going to listen to everything that you've made. I'm telling
I know
the truth.
you're being truthful.
I'm being honest. All right, bye everyone.
Stay grounded.